let's start with the two pieces that we're going to be showing. We'll be showing a body of work for Untitled, but we're going to today just highlight two of the pieces that people can see virtually. And you selected them, so why don't you start with one and we can move on from there.
So I selected, with a little help from Fashion Fair Cosmetics. It's a large portrait piece. I mean, I guess it's not too large. It's like 18 by 24, acrylic on wood panel, and it is a part of a fashion fair ad of these before and after images of these women. So in the before image, it's them, you know, with no makeup on, and they all look really good in their before pictures. It's just like, you know, they look like women, you know, which is nice.
Yeah.
And the after pictures, a lot of the times they kind of have like you know, clown makeup on, and it's just, you know, talking about like, oh wow, like look at this exciting way that fashion fair can transform your image and, like, you know, turn you into a real woman. And I just find them really, really funny, because it's just a very, like, direct way of marketing to people's insecurities, and it's obviously it's still happening now, but I think they're like a little bit more, maybe like a little bit more covert about it. But it's just really interesting in these advertisements, the way that they're very direct. Like, oh, you don't have fashion fair makeup on? Like, there's something off with you.
So when you're working with this series, because this series comes from Ebony magazines,
Yes.
a lot of the times you select the advertisements and you create these works based on the commentary of what's being communicated in those advertisements, or is it more of like the visual collage that when you create it, you know, have an idea of what it's going to look like?
I mean, I picked them according to the content, but most of the times they're advertisements, and it's either advertisements that have an interesting commentary, or editorial images of famous people. And it's, I mean, I choose them according to just like the looks on the people's faces, or the number of people in the scene, or sometimes what specifically that scene is, like, especially I did a few with families inside of fast food restaurants. One in McDonald's, and the other one I made in Burger King, and I just really like those because it's just very. I mean, it's just very warm. It's just like these very, like, warm images that I mean that I can relate to as far as my childhood, and it's just like these moments of happiness, but they're encased in like McDonald's, and like these like massive corporations, which are obscured within the context of the art. So once the piece is made, the advertisement portion of it kind of fades away, and you could kind of see it, but not quite. And you could kind of see that there's people in it, but like it's like imagining images in clouds at points.
So sometimes, like, it's kind of difficult to make out exactly what's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of bringing that abstraction. Some pieces I see that are a bit more abstract than others, like going back to with a little help from Fashion Fais. Is that the name of it?
Oh yeah, a little help from Fashion Fair. Yeah.
Fashion Fair. I mean, that is a very, you can see the face. I mean, it is a little like blurred and obscured based on the transformation, but it definitely, you can see her cheeks and her lips and those amazing earrings. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen the actual advertisement, but just based on that, I feel like she had really cool earrings on. I don't know if I'm right.
Yeah. In the larger images, I'd say like the faces start coming into more focus.
Yeah.
So, and
And
that's like a fun thing to play with.
and is that so? I mean, you take directly from the advertisement, so you're not adjusting the scale.
So with the larger ones, I am adjusting the scale. The smaller ones, the 16 by 20 pieces, I'm not adjusting the scale. It's just like straight from the advertisement. Yeah.
So with the larger ones, how are those created? Are they duplicated larger and then transferred?
Yeah. So I make like large format prints.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I work from those.
And then
So.
you you paint them. You paint over the advertisement.
Mhm. Yeah, so I put a piece of transparency over the large format print, and I paint on the transparency itself, and I try to match the colors as best I can because the colors speak to the time, and I think that really comes across with basically all of the works that they aren't from this time, even though they are blurred and obscured, and then I take the transparency and I make like a mono print essentially
Okay.
onto the panel surface.
So the dates in the title refer to when you're creating them and not when you find the magazine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, because I was honestly, when we were talking before, and one of them is with Kool-Aid, right? One of the
Oh
kids
yeah,
is.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
was thinking
You're
to myself,
never
like,
too old for Kool-Aid.
they still let kids drink Kool-Aid? Like, that's all sugar. So,
I know.
okay. So, all right. So I feel better. Okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So these are the dates in your titles reference when you're creating them.
Yes, yeah, that's when the pieces themselves were made.
Okay.
But all of the content that I use comes from anywhere between the 50s and 70s. So I'm buying these magazines off of eBay and just like, I have like my alert on and I'm just like scouring the internet. And then I started buying a lot more after what was it? The Smithsonian archive them, because then I started getting anxious, like, oh no, people
Yeah.
are figuring it out. I need to buy these up before it's too late. So